Good morning, Loganites. So, today I wanted to talk about what it's like trying to get pregnant in your 30s. And the reason why I wanted to do that now is because we've already had 2 months of not being pregnant while we're trying to be pregnant. And we're going to be coming up on a third month of either it's going to happen or it's not going to happen again. So, I wanted to catch this unique time where we still don't know and how it feels because this is a unique experience and it's not necessarily a position I thought I would have been in. Firstly, this is actually a lot harder than I thought it would have been. So you spend this in all your life, or all of your adult life, trying not to have kids, and then all of a sudden you do the flip of the switch where you're like, oh, I find this person that I truly love and want to spend my life with, and I want to raise a family and grow our family and have more of us to be a part of the team. That mental switch is so weird because you think about all the contraceptives that are out there and all these things, and don't get pregnant, teenage pregnancy, yada yada yada, and the years go on and on and on, and then all of a sudden, here you are, trying to make a family. And it's kind of mind blowing. It's it's hard to wrap your head around because now we're tracking periods, when are we ovulating, all of these things, we have to have sex these days because these are the days that our fertility window. I didn't even know that term until we started doing this. And then you have the social aspect of, we just got married not too long ago and everyone's already expecting us to be trying for kids because we are a little bit older getting married, right? It's a lot. It is a lot. And I want anyone that's out there that's watching this to know that it is a lot, I think, on everyone. It's a roller coaster of emotions because you want to be pregnant, you don't get pregnant. People ask you, hey, when are you going to have kids? Well, you're actively trying, and actively trying, not succeeding, and then those things going wrong, or them asking you reinforces that you're not doing it right, or something's not happening right. How much control over that do you actually have? It adds up a lot. It does. And I don't want this all to be doom and gloom. I just want to kind of share my experience of how it's been going, right? So let me start at the beginning. We got married 4 months ago. After we got back from our honeymoon, we said we want to start trying now because we don't want there to be we don't want to waste any time. We don't want to waste any time because we don't know how hard it is going to be pregnant because my wife, is already 32. So she never thought she was going to have any more kids. And now we're in this point where we're actively trying to. So we didn't want to wait. Because if we waited and then we couldn't, well, then that kind of is on us. Well, I guess we shouldn't have waited, So we went ahead and started. And we've already had 2 months, maybe 3 months of no's. And now we're coming up on this next month where it's we've just gone through this whole fertility window. And then now, you're either going to be pregnant or you're not. Trying is a whole nother thing, okay? Because, yes, we all like sex, right? Yeah, I'm a man, I like sex. That's what, you're raised here, at least in the South, to be like, right? You're a man, you're a red-blooded American, sex, 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 sex. But when you put it on a schedule, man, it's rough. You work your full-time job, you've got your hobbies, I do this YouTube stuff, we have another kid, you have all these things going on, and then you get to the end of the night and you're like, well, today we have to have sex. Did you know today we have to have sex? Sometimes that's just not how you want to end the day. Let's be real. I kind of want to go to bed sometimes. And that was the point I was at, the first 2 months of this, right? The first 2 months of this, it's oh my God, it's a schedule. I've never had to schedule this. I've never had to put myself in a position where you're I have to have sex tonight. Not like it's a joy or something else like that. There had to be. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, I've gone through some struggles. I've got some pointers here. If you're in that point where you're on the schedule of we have to do this, make it fun. Make it interesting. Use it like a game. Because I know you do like sex, right? We are made to like sex. Make it where you want to do it. Say I'm in a position where I'm hey, if our fertility score is over 6, That means we get to have sex. Now that we have to, that we get to have sex, or that I get to have sex, change the verbiage, and that honestly, you're like, oh, that's so silly. That has actually made it way more fun for me and way better. Because I get to, I don't have to. It's a small change. I get that, but try it. The other thing is you just got to push through those walls that you hit, right? So there was a point where, again, it's like we have to have sex. We have to have sex. At a certain point, you just got to push through that wall. You got to do what you got to do. You have to push through that wall. Whatever it takes to spice it up, you need to do it. Or else that wall will always be there. And that's what we had to do. We had to hit the wall, experience that wall, and then we had to push through that wall to stay on the schedule. You know, I hate that we're saying that we're scheduling all this out, but we are, because that's the reality of it. Is like, if you want to get pregnant, you can do this whole fertility window stuff and know when you need to have sex to make a baby. And the worst part about this is, like, as you're doing all of this stuff, you're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort. It's the disappointment of when you don't get pregnant, right? Because, I'll be honest, my wife thinks that she gets pregnant every single time. She'll be like, oh, I've got a cramp. Oh, it must be the egg being planted. Oh, I'm just so moody. Oh, I must be pregnant. Every single thing is related to the pregnancy. Everything could be a pregnancy sign, but you've done this, 2 months, 3 months, every single time, and then when you find out that you're not, you're like, oh, well, shit. That's not fun. And it is a big, like, hit to the morale. And I try to be as supportive as I can and try to do everything that I'm supposed to do and be there for her, listen to her, do everything that I can. It still sucks when that happens, though. It really does. Because as the man, I don't know what you're feeling. You could be 100% correct in feeling the things happening in there, because I don't even have the parts to feel to know what you're talking about, right? Because you can, as a physician, you can assess ovaries. You can literally push on a woman's belly and feel the ovaries if you know what you're looking for. So it's not that far-fetched to think that a woman can feel her ovaries or fallopian tubes doing whatever they need to do to make stuff happen. So it's tough. It's tough. We're 3 months into this, and I don't know if we're going to be pregnant next month. If we are, that's going to be awesome. That's going to change the whole way I feel about this video. But if we're not, we're going to keep trying. We've already had the discussion that if we, because you have to be realistic going into it, because we don't know if we're going to be pregnant, right? So we've already had that discussion of, if we don't get pregnant, what are we going to do? And how long are we going to try for? How far are we going to go to try? Because you can't have two different expectations going into this. Because if, like, I'm like, hey, we're gonna try the IVF, we're gonna do all the hormone treatment, we're gonna do everything that we can do until we get pregnant, where in her mind she may say, we're gonna do everything we can do for a year to get pregnant, and then we're just gonna be done. That's two totally different things, because at the year mark you're gonna have two totally different outcomes, where I'm continually wanting to try to do more, and it's not really do more to me, but to you, her. I don't know if I'd say it. That's unfair. It's unfair to have those two different expectations, because I can't do it to myself. So one person can happen to, but I don't have to go through it. That's why it's important to have that conversation beforehand. And we've decided that we're going to try everything we can do up until, we've said a year, maybe 2 years. And then if we can't get pregnant between that, we're just going to stop. And if it happens past that, it's a miracle baby. But that's our game plan, because you have to set realistic expectations. Because yes, you can get pregnant, but it is markedly harder. And you got to be realistic in those expectations. There is a bone I have to pick with people, and it's always been something that I've been, mindful about when I talk to women that are like of childbearing age. I don't ever say, hey, when you having kids? Hey, no babies yet? Hey, when are we going to have some grandkids? I've never really done that just because it felt a little weird, because I don't want to put that on you. And again, you know, for me at least, for so long, like I didn't think I was actually going to settle down and get married. So like I didn't want to have any kids. So, or with any kid. I didn't have a woman that I wanted to have kids with. So I didn't really need to think about having kids because I was avoiding it with women, right? Here or there. So these people that are asking these questions and doing these things, it's kind of weird to me. Well, now I'm in this position where I'm the person that everyone's expecting to have kids. And I'm getting asked those questions, and people are making those comments to me about, hey, when are you going to have kids? Or, you know, that made me feel some type of way, and I did not appreciate it. I didn't appreciate it. It made me feel, because we are actively trying. And we haven't had that conversation with our parents, like how actively we are trying, because who's going to have that conversation? Knowing that, if you haven't made those conversations happen, which I don't think most people do, don't make that conversation. Why would you do that? If you knew we were actively trying, you wouldn't be doing that anyway. So why are you making these comments? I'm sorry. I'm trying to practice positivity, but it really irked me, and it irked me even more because it made my wife feel some type of way, and I did not like that. Positivity, positivity, positivity. I do believe in positivity, the power of positivity. So, we are going to get pregnant, and we're going to continue to try until we do. I really do hope that in this I'm okay. See, I'm not really down yet because I don't feel like we've tried a whole year. At the whole year mark, then I might start feeling down and desperate, right? But we've only been trying for 2 solid months of no contraception and doing the fertility stuff about when we need to, you know, do the dirty to be able to have kids or have a baby, have another baby. If we had been trying longer, I'd feel a little more down. But for right now, positivity all the way. I hope that this is just a stepping stone into having kids, all these feelings and understanding how this goes. Because this is an experience. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. You don't. And that's the whole key here. You don't know what's going to happen, and that's the scary part. Just with any experience. So, I guess I just wanted to capture how I'm feeling and what's going on, because this is such a unique place to be in that I never thought I would have been. Ever. That I want to have kids. I'm actively trying to have kids, and it's not connecting. At no point in my life did anyone set me down and say, Logan, number one, this is how you try for kids. Number two, even if you try for kids, you may not be lucky. And I guess that's why that makes it such a miracle when it does happen. Guys, I guess I just wanted to share my experience and like how it's going, how I'm feeling, that it's, you know, it's not all rainbows and sunshine, and that it is tough. So if you have a friend that's like going through this, or that's you might even consider be going through this, just take this little piece of information, put it in the back of your head and go, hey, maybe it's not the best to pester them about having kids, because they might really want it. And they might have some sort of medical condition that they can't have kids, or they haven't found out that they can't have kids. So you don't want to be the person that keeps pressuring them into something that they do want, but they just can't have. I guess that's the thing, man. That's the thing, that you do want it. I'm in the position where I want it, I just don't have it yet. And I'm trying to have it. I've been told no twice already. No, it didn't work. So, just pass on the positivity, be supportive, and, I don't know, keep your corn on the cob.